With free agency set to start on Wednesday, we are taking a look at some of the top offensive players the Broncos could be targeting at offensive line, running back, and at backup quarterback. Welcome into the studio. I am Phil Milani alongside Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala. Guys, let's start at right tackle. We heard from George Paton at the Combine say that at offensive line, the Broncos need to upgrade there. Who's a right tackle the Broncos could be looking at?
Well, Phil, someone who stands out to me is right tackle Juwan Taylor. One, because he's a former Florida Gator.
Uh-oh,
I love my Gator guys.
Jump.
No, but, he's really durable. According to NFL Network, he's played more than 1,000 snaps in all 4 of his NFL seasons so far, with the Jaguars. He has not missed a game yet since entering the NFL in 2019. And, he's still really young. He's only 25 years old, and I feel like consistently he's gotten better every single season. So he's a guy they could be on the lookout for. As we know, at right tackle, there's kind of been a revolving door here the past few years. So he could be someone that brings a lot of stability at that position.
It's really been a revolving door for quite some time. I mean, all the way back to Orlando Franklin,
Right.
They had some consistency there. Eric, who's another guy you might be liking?
Yeah, Phil. I mean, there's a lot of names out there. Caleb McGarry's a guy from the Falcons, 31st overall pick in 2019, a really good run blocker if the Broncos want to get better there. Just a few penalties, 4 holding penalties over 4 years. So a good option there. Mike McGlinchey's another name that's been mentioned by some media members, 49ers player. 69 games in the last 5 years, another former first-round pick. He's a big guy, Phil, 6'8", 310, almost your size. He does have a little bit of a penalty issue, so you'd have to kind of work out if that's worth it. And then kind of the big name out there, of course, is Orlando Brown Jr., 4 Pro Bowls in his 5 seasons, played with the Kansas City Chiefs most recently. If the Broncos want to kind of swing big, set the market, maybe that's an option. But those are a few guys that could stand out.
Yeah, he played under the franchise tag last year with the Chiefs. They decided not to do that again this year. So a couple of good names there. We know that Sean Payton coming in here, he'll want to get that offensive line right. And with the Broncos just having 5 picks in the draft free agency could be a good place to do that. Same with at the running back position, guys. George Paton also at the Combine said that they need to add at that position is what he said. Who's a name that the Broncos could be looking at there, Sydney?
Well, first, Phil, I want to talk about Javonte Williams because George Paton did say at the Combine that he's on track. He's been working really hard in his rehab and, has been jogging a lot. So he's still on track to be ready for the beginning of the season. But like you said, they want to add a couple guys just to be, safe rather than sorry. So I think looking at that position, it was NFL Network that, had Eagles running back Miles Sanders at some of the top of their list. And, he really had a bounce back season last year. He had, I think, over 1,300 total yards. So he could be a good option. I know CBS Sports said that Bears running back David Montgomery could be a nice option too. He hasn't really been talked about, heading into free agency, but he's a really tough runner. He could be another option too. And I know that there's been several reports out there that have said that Kareem Hunt, could be a good option for this Broncos cycle as well too. So, we'll see what head coach Sean Payton and George Paton want to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what level of a running back they'll try to go after here. Do they still consider Javonte Williams the premier guy, but they're just waiting to see his health status there? Do they go out and try and go after a guy like Miles Sanders?
Yeah.
Do they wait for the draft? Because we know the draft is going to be really heavy there. But free agency-wise, Eric, who are a couple of guys you might be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, Sidney mentioned David Montgomery, good pass protector, 26 career touchdowns and a 1,000-yard season. If you do want to go and swing big, Jamal Williams is an option there for the Lions. Over 1,000 yards last season, 17 touchdowns. So he knows how to get in the end zone. He could be a choice if you wanted to swing big.
Yeah, that's a lot of touchdowns there. And we know Sean Payton's offense, guys like Alvin Kamara, Melvin Ingram, these are big names that you've seen have a lot of success with the Saints. A couple other names, Damian Harris with the Patriots, Devin Singletary with the Bills. Could be other options there at running back. And then the last position we could take a look at here is backup quarterback. Eric, I know you brought this up a couple weeks ago that could be a position the Broncos could be looking at here. Who do you like, Sydney? What's a name that's out there that could be of interest?
Yeah, Phil, I mean, there's been several reports that Jameis Winston, could be a good backup behind Russell Wilson. And, obviously with the signing of Derek Carr with the Saints, it's likely that Jameis Winston is a cap casualty. And, Coach Payton knows Jameis Winston very well. I mean, he was there during the 2020 season, 2021 season, when Jameis played a few games, I think 4 games in 2020 and then 8 or 9 games in 2021. So he's someone he knows well, and, he could be a potential guy that comes.
Yeah, before he got hurt in 2021, he passed for more than 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. So some success there with Sean Payton. Erica, who else do you think could be a good fit behind Russell Wilson?
This is a really rich, I think backup quarterback class or veteran quarterback class. You've got guys like Marcus Mariota, you've Teddy Bridgewater, 5-0 for the Saints when he was there a few years ago before he went to Carolina. Baker Mayfield, Taylor Heineke. I mean, you're talking about a lot of different options that could be interesting to the Broncos. Several of these names have been linked when you kind of look at these articles that are predicting who's going to go where. So it's really just kind of a matter of, 1, do you want a veteran or a rookie? And then 2, do you want somebody that plays like Russell Wilson, or do you want somebody kind of different? And so the Broncos, Sean Payton, George Payton, they'll have to make that decision.
Free agency is going to be interesting for this Broncos team, so we'll have to see where everything falls starting on Wednesday when the new league year begins. That's going to do it for us. For Eric Law and Sidney Jones, I'm Phil Malone.